Hi everyone, this is Stephanie Avery speaking. I am here to present to you our Renaissance Academy 2020 plan for this coming school year. I know it's been much anticipated and many of you are anxiously awaiting our announcement as what are we going to do. I hope that our plans, after much consideration, will work for as many families as possible and that you'll see that these are the options that we've come up with is we've done so with as much thought as we can to suit as many people as we possibly can and their individual circumstances and needs. So this year, as we've formed our new plan and our new schedule for the coming school year in light of our current pandemic, we've taken a lot of different circumstances into consideration. So as we've gone through the summer over the last 2 months and talked about what school going to look like this coming school year with all of the things that we're facing as a society, we've considered many different things. First and foremost, we really want to make school as normal as we can in the crazy situation that is society right now, but also we want to take into consideration student and family life. We know that consistency is really helpful, and we know that many of you rely on school for childcare and for different things, and we've looked at how can we best suit all the families in our school community despite the different circumstances. We've also taken into consideration the information we gathered from you in May and June. We've looked carefully at all the CDC guidelines and recommendations for the reopening of schools. We've made sure our plans are in line with USBE guidelines and recommendations, and of course with Utah Gov COVID updates and the latest information that's come out, in particular which came from Governor Herbert earlier this week relating to masks. In preparation, we've also looked at recommendations from the American Academy of Pediatrics and also Utah Medical Association, which both strongly recommend getting students physically back to school safely as much as possible this coming school year. As we have come up with our own school plans, we've also considered other options. Unfortunately, coming back full day Monday through Friday for our regular school hours is not a possibility this school year, given the other parameters that we're required to adhere to in the school. But we also considered A and B day and A and B week options in addition to our final plans, which I will go through in a moment. So this year, our priority and our focus is the health and safety of all students, staff, and families at school. As we go through the plan, please keep in mind these are the things that we focused on when coming up with our schedule for families. We want to maximize student learning and growth, and we want to really enable daily teacher contact and instruction for all students in core subjects. And when we talk about core subjects, we refer to math, language arts, world language at our school, and then science and social studies. But in particular, math, language arts, and world language. So what we decided was really important is seeing teachers and kids making contact every day. We also wanted to provide flexible learning options for at-risk students and families because we know a lot of people do not feel comfortable returning to school in fall. And we want to give those families and students options for things that will work for them. We also want to provide consistent structure and routine to families, students, and staff. We know that an A-day, B-day, or an A-week, B-week schedule, first of all, it's limited contact with teachers, and secondly, it changes frequently. And as much as possible, we felt it was important for kids to know what to expect, families to know what to expect, and to be able to plan their week and their days in a consistent manner. We also felt it's very important to allow for and provide student socialization and peer contact as frequently, if not daily, and then also to promote positive social emotional development and well-being. So with that in mind, we will be offering 2 models of learning this coming school year. So we will be offering both online full-time and on-campus learning options to all families. So our online on-campus learning models will be offered for the entire 2021 school year. We will not be returning to a full 5-day school week or what would be seen as a normal school week on campus, which is what school typically looks like. So the model that I'm presenting will be our full school year plan. We will only move, so we'll have 2 options. We'll only do what I'm going to explain to you, or we may be required at some point during the year to move 100% online if the governor or the state health department requires it. We will not have a green, a yellow, and an orange option. We will only have this option, which is for yellow or for now or full online. We will be preparing all students for the possibility that we may end up online from the very beginning of the school year. So our teachers will be training students on how to be online so that we can hopefully overcome some of the challenges of last year if that situation comes to pass. And I will be sending out a survey to all families early next week to sign up for an online or an on-campus model once you hear the details of each of those options. So first of all, our weekly schedule for 2020-21 is we will be having in-person and online schooling from Monday through Thursday only. Friday will be designated as a homework or catch-up day for all students to complete assignments and or online assessments at home. There will not be any scheduled classes or instructions for students on Friday. Friday will also be used by teachers and staff for online meeting, trainings, and prep. So school will be Monday through Thursday only, no matter whether you elect for an on-campus or an online model of learning for your students. First of all, I would like to go through our on-campus online hybrid learning model. So this is one option for your family for this school year. So if you would like your students to come to school on campus, keep in mind our other option is full-time online. If you would like them to come to campus, we will be offering a split shift AM PM schedule for students on campus from Monday through Thursday. Our AM session will be from 8 to 11:30 a.m. and our PM session will be from 12:30 till 4 p.m. So we did decide to go with the AM and PM rather than A day, B day, or A week, B week to allow for more regular, daily, consistent teacher-student contact and a consistent weekly schedule for all families. Students will not overlap at school between AM and PM sessions. So as you can see, because we will be splitting the school in half in who's attending on campus, there'll be a significantly less students on campus at any given time. And I know recess has been a concern for a lot of people, but please be aware we, of course, will offer a 15-minute daily recess outside, weather permitting, to all students in an AM and a PM session model. Compared to the A day or the B week model, we chose the AM PM on-campus learning model to allow for, like I said earlier, vital daily teacher-student contact and instruction to maximize student learning and growth through regular whole class and small group instruction, to allow a reduction in class size, which in turn allows more physical distancing in our classrooms. So we will have a maximum class size of 15 to 20 students, so 20 students per section at school this year in all AM and PM sections. Our AM and PM option also provides a consistent daily and weekly schedule for all RA families. So for example, if you're a working from home parent, we hope that this enables you to at least have half a day where your students are taken care of outside of the home to allow you to get what you need done, whether you're a working parent, whether you've got other younger kids at home, whether you just need to get your kids out for the day for a few hours every day, for whatever that might be. It will give you a bit more structure and schedule, which we know children thrive on as well as families. And it'll also allow regular social interaction and positive mental health and well-being for students both online and on campus. However, since students come into campus will only be on campus 3.5 hours a day, all students who would typically, so 1st through 8th grade students, be at school for a full day from 8 till 3, will also have 1 or 2 online classes outside of their on-campus learning time. So it's going to be a hybrid model. All students who attend on-campus learning will also do a little bit of online learning every day in addition to their on-campus learning. So what this looks like for every grade level, first of all, kindergarten is its own grade level where all subjects will be taught on campus. There will be no online subjects right now for kindergarten students. Kindergarten will still be a Monday through Thursday schedule, but it will all be on campus learning. For students in 1st through 6th grade, language arts, math, and world language will be the subjects focused on and taught at school. Science and social studies will be taught online in a live virtual classroom at an assigned time before or after their on-campus session. So if you're an AM on-campus student, then your science and social studies lesson will be taught live after school, for example, at 1 p.m. Or if you're a PM student, then your live science lesson will be taught online by your science teacher at 11 a.m. to allow time for you to both have lunch and then travel to school for your 12:30 start. Specialty classes for all students will be optional online subjects for students in 1st through 6th grade. These will be posted at the beginning of the week, and students will be able to complete these assignments and activities at their own convenience, depending on their family schedule. We decided to eliminate specials as on-campus subjects because, first of all, there is significantly less time at school, and secondly, these are the subjects that students travel to different rooms in the school. They're often involve a lot more physical contact, and as we try and cohort students in their classrooms while they're at school to limit spread of the virus, this was one of the things that we felt could move online. In terms of 7th and 8th grade, the middle school subjects taught on campus will be language arts, math, science, and world language. These will be all live. The periods will be the same length as what they typically are in a regular school day. The following subjects will be taught online in that live virtual classroom with a live teacher, teaching, participating in small groups, answering questions, allowing for collaboration between students. All of those things that you would see in a classroom, you'll see online in these virtual classrooms. And in 7th grade, those subjects will be Utah Studies, Health, Art Foundations 1, Chinese Culture, and other all elective courses. In 8th grade, that will be US History, CTE, Digital Literacy, Chinese Culture, and once again, all elective courses. And many of you are probably wondering about specialty teachers now that we will not have on campus. All specialty teachers are continuing full-time, and they've all accepted additional and different responsibilities for this upcoming school year. So in terms of the daily student schedule for this coming school year, I'll give those to you. So if you are a kindergarten student, once again, you're learning on campus either 8 to 11:30 a.m. or 12:30 till 4 p.m. So there's not too much of a difference for kindergarten students this coming school year, aside from there is no school on Friday and our sessions are slightly longer. The big change is we are not offering Junior Academy, which the majority of our kindergarten families should already be aware of. We will be offering this next year in 2021-22. If you are a Chinese immersion program student, all Chinese immersion students who would like to participate in on-campus learning will be automatically allocated to AM on-campus learning. So all kids in the Chinese immersion program will attend school from 8 until 11:30 a.m. on Monday through Thursday. This allows for family carpools. A lot of our families in this program have students that range from 8th grade to 1st grade to 5th grade, and we want to make it easier for you so that you're not running back and forth from school multiple times per day. We just want to be able to do one drop-off and one pickup. So if your student is in 1st through 5th grade and they're in Chinese immersion, so they will be on campus from 8 to 11:30, and then they will spend 1.5 approximately hours after school online in those live classes. So for example, if the way our Chinese model will work is students will see their English teacher for 2 sessions a week on campus and their Chinese teacher for 2 sessions a week, either Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Thursday. If the students saw their English teacher that morning, when they get home, their online components will be Chinese related as much as possible, small groups and subjects. If they spent the morning in Chinese, their afternoon will be their English instruction, so their language arts with their regular English teacher, their math instruction, science, social studies reinforcement. So it'll be the same as what it would be normally on campus, where they see one teacher in the morning and one in the afternoon, except this time it's live in the morning and virtual online in the afternoon. And that's all students in 1st through 5th grade. So there'll be 3.5 hours at school and 1.5 hours-ish, depending on age, online after school. In 6th through 8th grade, the same morning requirement will be at school, and Chinese Lit will be taught on campus Monday through Thursday. So in 6th through 8th grade, Chinese is taught at school. The online subjects are Chinese Social Studies and Chinese Culture in the various grade levels. The online after-school requirement for 6th through 8th will be just over 2 hours per day. And in 6th grade, that will also include science, but in 7th grade, it will be those other core subjects that I spoke about, that health, that CTE, digital literacy, the required subjects. We are trimming our middle school requirements to graduation requirements. So often we offer and require several more elective courses than are needed for middle school graduation, but this year, additional electives outside of requirements will be offered as optional, and they will be before or after their other required courses. So for kids that want to spend their minimal time online, they won't need to do this extra optional elective from 3:15 till 4. Students in 1st through 5th grade who are non-DLI students, so they spend their full day in an English classroom, will have the option to request either AM or PM on-campus learning. So whatever suits your family better, you might decide that your student is better starting school a little bit later in the day with an online class in the morning and then coming to campus in the afternoon, or you might still prefer AM. So our English teachers on campus will be offering both options. So the online requirement, if you're in 1st through 3rd grade and you're a non-DLI full English day student, will be 1.5 hours before or after school. And those times are here already allocated, so it allows for you to plan. So if you are coming to school in the morning from 8 to 11:30, you will have your science, social studies, and small groups for math or language arts support from 1 till 2:30. And it may not be those exact times, as not all students will need to be online at the same time, but approximate availability will be those hours. And vice versa, if you come to school from 12:30 till 4, your school day won't start till at least 10 a.m. If you're in 4th and 5th grade and you are a full day English student, so you learn Spanish or Arabic, you'll also have the option to request AM or PM on campus learning. And your online requirement will be 2 hours per day, either before or after your on-campus learning. So overall, students will be spending 5.5 hours per day doing their schooling, compared to a typical 7-hour day when they're here from 8 till 3. 6th through 8th grade non-DLI students will be automatically allocated to PM on-campus classes, since our DLI students are allocated to morning. So we will have 2 split sections between the Chinese immersion program and the non-Chinese immersion program students in 6th through 8th grade for core classes on campus. So if you are in 6th grade and you are a non-Chinese immersion student, so you learn Spanish or Arabic, then you will come to school Monday through Thursday from 12:30 till 4, and then you'll have 2 hours of school before you get there online in your virtual classroom. So with Mr. Robinson, for example, with Mrs. Taylor in science, and you'll have these 2 options depending on what works for you, because we will not have too many kids in any given class, whether that be online or on campus. If you're in 7th or 8th grade, the requirement will be slightly longer with 2.25 hours unless you elect for those extra online elective courses. Now, if you do not feel comfortable coming back to school full-time or part-time, as it might be, if you don't feel comfortable bringing your kids back to on-campus learning, we will be offering a full-time online learning model this coming school year. And I'll explain a little bit about what that looks like now. Not unfortunately, right now we're only planning to offer full-time online learning to students in 1st through 6th grade. That doesn't mean we definitely won't, but right now, based on previous survey results, we're only planning to offer it in 1st through 6th grade. I'm going to send a survey out to all kindergarten and middle school families next week to gauge interest in this possible online option, because I know people's opinions may have changed since our last survey that went out at the end of May, early June, with all the changes that have been going on in the numbers and things like that. So don't think, oh my gosh, it's not an option at all. But we have, at the moment, I'm only talking about 1st through 6th grade as a full-time online option. So for families who prefer their students not to return to campus next month, you'll be able to elect online learning in a survey I send out next week. Families will need to commit to at least semester 1 completely online and will not be able to transfer back on campus until semester 2, just because that transient back and forth will be extremely challenging and inconsistent for both students and families. So we will require that 1 semester commitment. Full-time online students will be assigned a virtual classroom teacher and peer group, and they will take all of their subjects at an assigned time, Monday through Thursday, with a live Renaissance teacher. So it will not be like last year where teachers posted videos and then students did things at their own convenience. Students will be required to be online at their subject allocated times. And so, as you'll see in a moment, those will be very specific, and they will be very similar to on-campus learning times. So we will be taking attendance for all online students and daily. Students will be graded A through F in all core subjects that they're learning online, except specials and Spanish, which will be pass-fail, and that's the same if they were on campus. So typically in these elementary grades, 1st through 5th grade, both of those subjects are always pass-fail. So it's not any different. And the core online subjects that will be taught will be language arts, math, science, and social studies. The optional online subjects that we plan to also offer to all students that are full-time online are Spanish and specials, so music, art, PE, and typing. If you are part of the Chinese immersion program and you would like your 1st through 5th grade student to participate online, they will be able to take all of their core English classes online, but to continue in the Chinese program, they will need to attend Chinese on campus Monday and Wednesday from 12:30 until 4 p.m. and also participate in Chinese small groups for 30 to 60 minutes on those alternate afternoon days. We are not offering Chinese as an online subject this school year. After much collaboration and discussion with our Chinese teachers, we came to the decision that we feel like it's not as productive online, and the growth that we saw was very challenging for both students and teachers. And so Chinese will be completely online this year. If your student is a full-time online student for those other subjects, language arts, math, etc., they will form their own afternoon Chinese class cohort, so they will not be exposed to other students that are on campus, only those that are full-time online. So here is the full-time online student schedule. The non-BLI families will have the option to sign up for either AM or PM online classes, same as on campus. Chinese immersion students will be automatically assigned to an AM online class group because they're required to attend Chinese on campus on Monday and Wednesday afternoons. If you would like your student to take Spanish online, which we will be offering to all grade levels, and you're a non-immersion student, you will need to be on a PM core section class so that you can take Spanish in the morning. If you're in 6th grade and you would like to be a full-time online student, that is an option for our non-immersion students. So I have listed the 6th grade teachers here. All of these subjects will be offered online with the exception of Chinese. Chinese, once again, will need to be taken on campus. Full-time online learning in middle school. As I mentioned earlier, at the moment, we're not able to offer that. But if we do have enough family interest, then we may offer this option in the next week or two once we see numbers, which would allow teachers to have time in their day to teach both on campus and online in 7th and 8th grade core subjects, math, science, and language arts. So if you are in 1st through 5th grade, these will be our full-time online teachers for the school year. So Erin Druce is new in 1st grade. She is coming to us from Summit Elementary, and we are super excited to have her. She's taught all grades in elementary, and she is highly qualified, and we're very excited to welcome her to our school. In 2nd grade, Anna Felton, who is also a veteran teacher, both at Renaissance and in general, she'll be teaching online. Jill Stratty will be teaching our 3rd grade online students, and Emily DePollins and Kerry Todd will be teaching 4th and 5th grade online. So if you're wondering who your student's teacher will be, if you're a full-time online student in 1st through 5th grade, that's who it is. Technology access for at-home learning. Many of you are, I'm sure, wondering about this. All students in 1st through 8th grade will need at-home technology and internet access for home learning and online classes. All full-time online students will need access to Chromebook or other laptop device that allows typing for online classes. We realize that not all families may have this, and once again, our priority, like it was last year, is to ensure that students have technology access in the home. And so we will be working on that as well. But if you do sign up for full-time online, just be aware your student will need it for 3.5 to 4 hours per day in addition to homework time. So take that into consideration. And if you don't have any, like I said, it will be our priority to ensure that all students have access to devices and internet at home. We will not be asking for field trip donations this year. Instead, any donations will be gladly accepted to a technology access fund if parents would like to contribute to that to help us ensure that all students have access. Masks, the big question. Well, that was answered on Friday with Governor Herbert's recent announcement that masks will be required and worn by all students, staff, and visitors in the school building this coming school year. So we are asking our Renaissance families to supply 2 reusable masks per student for use at school this coming school year. They do not need to be dress code. If you saw my Facebook post, make them fun, make them exciting, make them suited to your student's personality. Masks are not, they're becoming cool. My 2-year-old thinks they're cool. But masks are a hard thing, but we can do hard things and kids can do hard things. And we can do it for a shorter period of time. We're only going to be at school for 3 to 3.5 hours per day for a kid, and we can take them off in the playground. So they can do it, and we'll help them. But we will need 2 masks per student. In terms of physical distancing and hygiene procedures on campus, they will be increased this year to allow physical and social distancing. We do have smaller class sizes than typical, so 15 to 20 per classes. Like I said, they're going to be a cohort group. They don't really move around the school as much as they would previously because they're no longer doing specials, aside from for small group and one-on-one a little bit. But predominantly, they will remain in their small group in their classroom when they're on campus. Social distancing will be a thing in our classroom, so we've come up with ways to have physically larger table groups so that they can be a little bit further away from one another while wearing their masks, but still allow for collaborative learning and the style of teaching and learning that we emphasize at our school. We also will reduce traffic flow in the building because they will not be moving from specialties, and we have eliminated that lunch period between 11:30 and 12:30. So there is only that small morning and afternoon recess, which makes physical distancing at school a lot easier. In terms of cleaning, we'll have more frequent hand washing and hand sanitizer use throughout the day when students enter and leave their classrooms. Teachers will be introducing different procedures to ensure that desks are cleaned, chairs are cleaned regularly, doorknobs, devices, manipulatives, all those high-touch surface areas will be cleaned during the day, and then definitely between sessions when students leave and come to school. Our overnight janitorial staff will also be routinely disinfecting classrooms, common areas, and the playground equipment. Hand sanitizer dispensers will be installed at each entry point to the school and throughout the school, and students will be asked to bring refillable water bottles to school rather than use shared spout drinking fountains this coming school year. So that might be something you can think of in terms of a donation to a classroom teacher, because there won't be those spouts that the students share with one another this school year. It'll need to be refillable bottles. Restroom and drink fountain areas will be frequently sanitized, and students will maintain individual rather than shared school supplies. So that's another big change. We won't be having like boxes of glue sticks that everyone shares. Every kid will have their own stuff. And that brings me to school supplies and donations. But like I said, all students will need their individual supplies to be stored in their own individual pencil cases or boxes in their personal classroom tray, so they will not be sharing things. Teachers are in the process of putting together their unique supply list for this year and ideas for donations, because they may look slightly different compared to usual, seeing as we won't be using these shared supplies. We'll publish this online as soon as we can in the next week or so. And recess and lunch. So we do not plan to offer a hot school lunch this year. Instead, we will be offering a daily grab-and-go sack lunch option to all students. So obviously we have students that rely on their school lunch, and of course we want to continue to provide that to them. So if you're a morning student on campus, then you will put your hand up during lunch count, and your sack lunch will be delivered before you leave for carpool at 11:30. If you're an afternoon on campus student, then you will pick up and eat your sack lunch in the gym before school starts at 12:30. So our gym lunch will be open from 12:10 till 12:30 for those students that want to pick up a sack lunch and eat it before they go to class at 12:30. Recess. So all students in kindergarten through 6th grade will have one 15-minute outdoor recess at school, weather permitting. And this is the same as what they would normally get before their lunch period. So we have not decreased any of their recess time. And of course, they'll do brain break activities in their classrooms, and they'll do collaborative learning and all those things that they would typically do if they were on campus for this much time. Recess will be staggered, so we don't have too many kids outside at any time, and they are not required to wear their mask at this point outside. Volunteers. So to prevent the spread of COVID, we've decided that we will not have any parent volunteers or visitors on campus, at least initially this school year. We have a lot of extra staff that will be helping with small groups, reading groups, intervention, remediation, all those different things that we know we're going to need after having our students off campus for several months last year. But just as we're getting into the swing of things, we have decided that we're going to just keep our staff doing that, and we will not be having on-campus volunteers or visitors, at least at the beginning of the year. So like I said, this may change if circumstances change or we realize we need to change what we're doing. We know that this is going to be a learning process in all areas for all of us. So we're open to changes in this area in particular. Field trips, assemblies, FEC, and community events. We will not be doing field trips, community events, large group events, anything like that for the first semester to once again prevent spread of COVID-19. So we may reconsider the introduction of these programs if we are advised to move to green the new normal. So the carnival has been postponed to the spring, but we will still be having spirit nights because those allow for drive-through events and families can keep isolated and still participate in those. And like I mentioned earlier, we will not be asking for field trip donations this school year. Sick policy, and we're still reviewing that and we'll be finalizing any updates. But please, let's help one another. Do not send students to school with any symptoms that indicate they may be sick with anything. As usual, if your student does come to school with any symptom of illness, they will be sent to the office to call home and be checked by a parent depending on their symptoms. Once we update that policy, we will let you know the specific details of it. Same goes for our mitigation plan for COVID. So we're still looking at how we're going to respond and act and with regard to contact tracing, or if and when we have student, staff, or a family member in our community that tests positive and has been at school recently or has had close contact with people that have been attending school on campus regularly. So once we figure that out, we will communicate the details of these plans to you. So as in terms of back to school dates, our important dates are below. So we're going to get those school supply lists out to you as soon as possible. July 24th, which is in 2 weeks, will be the last day to register for full-time online learning and to indicate your preference if you're a non-DLI student for an AM or PM on-campus learning. Once again, these are our dates for class lists, for student schedules. The details of back to school night are still to be advised just because obviously that's a large community event and we're not totally sure how we're going to do that this year, but we will let you know when we know, which will be sooner than later. We're still doing kindergarten assessments the first week of school, and all students will come back to school if you're in 1st through 8th grade on August 18th as scheduled. That is a Tuesday. Kindergarten students will start school on August 24th. So I know there's probably a lot of thoughts and frustrations and feelings and questions right now. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me via email. I will also be creating a parents and families frequently asked questions document that we'll post on our school website shortly so that you can all kind of check if someone else has already asked you a question. But I hope that you realize that we really have tried as much as possible to figure out a plan that works for as much as possible for all of our students and families. Like I said, I know this is not a perfect world and not everyone is going to be happy, but we hope that you can find something that will work for your family in the options that we'll be offering this school year. Thanks, and I hope you're all having a great summer and enjoying the wonderful weather.